Today on Nerd and Normal, everyday items are becoming smarter. Are they worth the money, or are they all just hype?
Welcome to Nerd and Normal with Matthew and Gareth, opening your mind to the world of technology. So let's get started.
G'day, Matthew.
G'day Gareth, how are you on this lovely day?
Oh, look, yes, it's lovely. In some parts of Australia, in New South Wales or parts of the Central Coast, I believe it's near the 40 degrees, and where I am in Victoria, it's 18 degrees.
I'd gladly swap any day of the week with you right now. I don't like melting.
Mate, I've just got the part of the Australian that I bought today. Let me just read the first paragraph to this story. The 24/7 operation of the 000 custodian, as claimed by the Infrastructure and Communications Department, is simply a phone number telecommunications companies can call while a department employee may be sick, asleep, or whatever. What does that say about the custodian? That's into the Australian.
That literally means that they're just there as an answering service. They're not actually there to do anything to help people if 000 goes... If Optus, unfortunately, once again, loses their connection with the 000 network, people can't ring 000. And this should be more than just an answering service. This should be somebody always there, ready to jump into the back end of networks and try and sort the problem out.
Okay, well, it goes on in a different article. It goes on to say the ACMA, or the Australian Communications and Media Authority, has said Vodafone owner 2PG has since blocked 7,000 plus Samsung phones, while Telstra has identified 114,000 plus customers and devices that need software updates. Optus has told regulators around 470,000 Samsung devices using its network may be unable to call 000. I thought they'd fixed it.
No, well, the problem is it takes the rolling out of the updates to the phones themselves to be done, and then people to actually do the updates to the phones. But again, this comes down to the issue of 3G is gone, but yet these phones, for security reasons and safety reasons, all want to revert back to 3G to ring 000 because it reaches further and works better. But it's gone. And unfortunately, the number of phones that they've tested, these are phones that individual companies have tested to find out they will do it or not, they are the ones they've identified. There are still hundreds of thousands of other phones they haven't tested yet from other manufacturers, like Huawei, which is actually, I've seen recently, Huawei phones are affected, but people don't realise they're actually affected because they're not in the media. And even the ones that are in the media, they've been on the news, we've talked about ourselves, been in the papers, people unfortunately don't realise it affects them. It's the same as with Windows 10 not getting updates anymore. I was speaking to somebody on the phone yesterday who uses Windows 10 in their work environment. When they went into the location to check to see if they're getting the updates, they're not. They weren't told about it. They didn't know about it. It's been in the news, it's been in the papers, been in the radio, been all over the place, been in social media, but people aren't aware. And by the time they are aware is when places like Telstra, Optus or Vodafone send them a message saying, in 1 month, your phone's going to stop working completely. Not just 000, the whole thing just stops. And by that stage, it's too late.
What have they done with 3G? What's the purpose of closing it?
They use the 3G network to give more bandwidth, more space, more speed to the 5G network. So 5G is using the same frequencies as what 3G was doing with the transmission of the data. Think of the transmission of data wireless, whether it be TV, radio, telephone, as a finite resource. And so when they decide to make a new technology, they've got to pull that information, pull the chance to broadcast it from something else. And they worked out they can use the frequencies used by 3G to assist to make 5G faster.
Then why does the United States still use a 3G network?
United States, most countries actually still do. Canada have got it earmarked for turning off, I think, at the end of this month. Canada's going to be turning their 3G network off. It comes down to, in this country, we are, as someone who's driven from Sydney to Brisbane, we are quite a vast country. And the issue isn't the vastness in terms of what we can do for technology in terms of the mobile phone reach. It's the speed people want these days. And people want the faster speed. They don't care about not getting reception. You can drive most of the way from Sydney to Brisbane and have no mobile phone reception at all, because all the 3G networks have all been turned off, which means that extra bit of distance you got is gone, because people want to watch when they're driving their car, a movie while they're driving.
You mean you mean the passengers want to watch a movie? Let's just qualify that, okay? I don't want a fine turning up in my pigeonhole saying this is what you said. Matthew said it. I'll give you his address later. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I'll continue with that. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I said that. But yeah, the problem is, though, they want the faster speed while they're driving, but they lose the reception. It's gone very, very quickly because 5G doesn't reach that far, nor does 4G. So 3G had the benefit of you could sit on the phone making a phone call or sending a text message, but that option's gone now.
It sounds a little bit like AM and FM and then digital radio. Digital radio, if you've got a building in front of you and the person sending the message, you're not going to hear the program. Whereas AM was a much more flexible thing. It could go up mountains and over mountains and through buildings and corridors. Yeah, so technology advancing has sometimes some problems actually still working as well as what it used to in the old days. We've actually had, as you know, we've had a number of people respond to our couple of requests saying, if you've got topics you want to talk about, can you let us know and we'll talk about? So 1, 2, 3. There are 4 that seem to have a general consensus of people wanting information. For example, how do we, pardon me, how do we come to terms with smart homes without overcomplicating them? Like you can take to your phone, turn on the kitchen lights or turn on the gas stove. No, not the gas stove. Turn on the electric stove or whatever. So how do we come to terms with those kinds of issues?
So I faced for the very first time about 2 months ago actually a person who bought a completely smart home. All the bits and pieces were already in there. The smart speakers, the smart lights, the smart blinds, the smart everything. But the problem is the house was smarter than the people at that point in time. The issue you're faced with doing that is that you have to use the same Wi-Fi settings the previous owner had. If you don't, you got to go around and reset every single device, and you got to hope, and you got to hope that they've left the instruction manual for everything. If they haven't, you got to try and find out what the manufacturer it is, what the model number is, and then work out from there how to actually get the whole thing set up back on your Wi-Fi settings. Now, luckily for the person that I dealt with, they had most of the instructions, but not all. And it came down to then having to work out, well, what's this device? The problem that I faced, and as a fine example for this, is the previous owner had gone and done everything like crazy when it came to smartness, including a smart sensor for the capacity of the water tank, which I couldn't see the model number for the sensor. I couldn't see the maker of it because it's all facing down towards the water. And you got to then pull it apart to find out what the maker and manufacturer is. And there was no instruction manual for that at all. The other one that was difficult was their sound system that the other person had put in there. And rather than doing just off the shelf, buying it from some local retailer or some store in Australia, they'd imported it directly from America. So they actually had a power inverter in it to try and make sure it was set for our power. And again, no instruction manuals, no information about the models, nothing. It took me over an hour to work out what the manufacturer was, because there was no easy identification on the thing, what the models were, and then once I did that, how to find the manuals for everything, because there was multiple devices, and then how to reset it back to work for them with their phones. Because what the previous owner had said, they'd said, use this app, it'll work fine. It worked for them for a day, and then that was it.
What happens if there's a power outage and you've got a smart home? The smart home suddenly becomes a dumb home.
That's the fun thing about the same as this house I was dealing with. They have smoke detectors in them. If the house is burning down, it'll text you letting you know the house is burning down. Until the power goes out, then it doesn't text you anymore. It's amazing how little people think about this. Luckily with the power of all these smart devices, when they go out, they know the settings still. So they jump back on their Wi-Fi and they start working again. But yeah, the power goes out. A lot of them don't have a manual backup. You can't get there and open the blinds because there's no manual thing for them. The smoke alarms don't work because there's no battery backup, and also they work by using the Wi-Fi. If there's no Wi-Fi, there's no smoke alarms.
Okay. For someone who has a normal home, I live in the year of 1910. What do you have? Do you have is it you control the whole home if you've got a smart home and everything's smart from your phone, or do you have a device? How do you control it?
So you end up with multiple apps on one device. So you can have one app on your phone for lights, one app on your phone for blinds, one app on your phone for music, one app on your phone for smoke alarms. There are some places that can allow you to have one single app that sort of homogenizes the whole thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work. Google Home is a great example where they say, you can put it all in our Google Home app. Doesn't work. A lot of programs, a lot of devices won't work with Google Home system, so you end up still with individual apps all over the place. And if you're selling the house and you haven't told everyone that's buying it, hey, these are the apps you need, these are the settings you need, these are the accounts we use to set them all up, you have a dumb home.
Well, I've got a dumb radio. Google and Kmart and various and the radio networks have all pleaded with Google, because if you've got a Google Home set and you ask it to play, for example, Triple M or 2UE or 3MP or 4BH, for about a month ago, it wouldn't play it at all, because they'd updated something and it cancelled all the radio access via the Google system. All right, they said they've fixed it, but by fixing it, it'll only play now for 30 minutes, then it turns itself off. So no matter how many organisations like Nine Network and they can't fix it. So I haven't got a smart home, but I do have the Google systems. I can't listen to the radio now unless I go online and listen off my computer, or pick up my Apple phone and listen off the Listener app. So what's going on with Google in so-called smart technology?
The problem comes down to, like always happens, people need to update their software to make sure they're safe and secure, but they never actually get there and fully test it. Years ago, and I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, there were whole banks of computers, and staff at Microsoft is a fine example to actually do know the truth for. They have staff in there, they'd release an update internally, test on all these multiple different computers of different hardware, different manufacturers, different other programs on the computers, test them all. Once they knew that it wasn't going to cause a grief for any other computers, they then say, okay, it's fine, we'll send it out. These days, they've automated all that. It's all done by computers, testing computers, running virtual computers, not real computers. They're running computers inside computers, saying, well, these things here work, so we'll send it out. Once they hit the actual real world, they get reports about issue after issue after issue. They don't seem to realise that they can't do testing in the real world. You do the testing before you release it. And Google want to try and get their system working as fast as they possibly can, up to date as possibly can. And in Google's defense, the original Google Chromecast system, which got released over 20 years ago, only stopped working recently. And that's because it definitely lived its life. They're keeping older technology working for as long as they possibly can. In the case of, yes, a Listener app on their Google speakers, it's not working properly. That would come down also to the Listener app people need to get there and update things for themselves.
Okay. Well, I hope if you're listening or watching right now, Matthew has answered the question that you asked him to do, coming to terms with smart homes. Be like me. Stay in the dinosaur age.
I've got to say, I have one smart device in my home. One.
What's your wife?
No, I said one.
Yeah, what is it?
It is one light globe I bought from Kmart about 10 years ago. I can turn it on when I'm outside somewhere, that when I get home, there's a light on in the house. That's all it does.
You turn it on from your phone?
I turn it off my phone. It's the only smart thing in the house.
Do you live in your house? Because that means there's only one smart item in the house and it's not you.
Well, yeah, I don't mind that.
Normal users for wearables, such as health tracking and sleep stress, how effective and should we consider getting them?
Always, when it comes to health things, always consult with your doctor first. Tell them, you think about buying this? Will they be able to use the information it creates for them, for their work? Because it's senseless you get into having a sleep tracker that tracks your sleep and your heart rate and your pulse, and it produces data that's meaningless to a doctor because they can't either use the data themselves on their system, or it produces the wrong kind of data. Now, a lot of the programs they use in doctor surgery is called Best Practice or Praxoft. They're the two main programs they use in doctor surgeries. Yep. And both of them can't really do much with that. So the doctor has to get a hard copy and put it into the system themselves rather than having it just automatically go across. So speak to your doctor first. See if your doctor says, yeah, use that device. That will help me diagnose things for you. If they say that their research has found that certain device doesn't do a good job, which I've had some cardiologists tell me that some of the smart rings and some of the certain wearable watches also don't do a good job, then be cautious. Always speak to medical professionals first.
Well, let me speak normal, specific question. I have an Apple, I'll confess, iWatch, and it's got a heart monitor on it. Now, we know what an average heart heartbeat should be for a person of a certain age if it goes above that, if the watch says it goes above that? Is that something I should be worried about? I mean, how reliable is that kind of health device on my Apple Watch?
For your benefit, to give you some idea of what you're doing right or wrong, it's great. Because it gives you an idea if your exercise has been good enough or not good enough, or you're under a whole lot of stress. I have seen with a Samsung watch, I know a lot of things are bad for Samsung right now. This isn't any better. A Samsung Watch 3 that's supposed to do a feature of it is when you fall, it's meant to get there and ring 000. I've had a customer of mine who has fallen twice and the phone failed to ring anybody at all. To the point where I decided, I'll test this with you. I was in their house, put the phone on my wrist, or the watch on my wrist, and I decided to start falling down just to see what happened. I ended up with a nice couple of bruises. It didn't do a single thing again. But yet, the person was laying in bed, doing absolutely nothing.
And it rang 000.
Yeah.
But I thought Samsung couldn't ring 000 because 3G is closed.
Hang on. This was last year.
Just testing. Just testing. Okay, all right. Well, that as far as wearables are concerned. So I hope our friends who asked about that are listening. Something I was fascinated by because I didn't realise you could get them. The AR glasses and what they can be used for. For example, the one specified in the question was the Ray Neo Air 3S Pro. So what do you know about it?
These are the things that are sort of growing more and more popular and becoming more and more of a thing these days. It comes back to the original Google Glass cameras that were released a long time ago and failed dismally. But they had the actual eye camera, the actual eyes bits for the glasses, but then a great big camera was sitting off to the side. That's all they did. They had nothing real special there. These days, you can actually do two things with these new AR glasses. You can see what's in front of you, but then you can also have it put a heads-up display to say the person's name, or you can have it bring up the weather in one eye and stock markets in another eye and try and understand both those. I don't understand how you do it, but you can try.
Yeah.
But you can also have it record what you're seeing from your point of view. So you can be on a phone call with someone and then say, hang on, I'll put you on video call, press the side of the glasses, and it will then start actually showing them what you're seeing, which is great if you're, say, at a school event or if you're outside watching, say, football. Wow. You can get there and have it do that for you. However, I don't know what the laws are in other states, but I know in New South Wales, if you're recording somebody, you must tell them you're recording them. And that can lead to a few issues if you're recording somebody without telling them that you're recording them. And for me, that's a bit of a concern. But for everything else, to actually have in front of your face an idea of what's going on in the world, just by looking up or down rather than looking directly at nothingness, but also record those events that you can't get your phone out in time. You haven't got a camera with you. You just push your glasses and it starts recording.
In real time?
In real time.
And what about if you have an eye problem and you go to the optometrist to get your eyes tested and they increase the lens in your glasses and then you can read more efficiently? Do these AR glasses also do that? A
lot of them can have the lenses changed in them, but they're still working towards making that perfect, just due to the fact that the way they actually put the things on the screen in front of your eyes does have to deal with actually the way the glass is inside the glasses. But there are times where people have had the prescription lenses put into these glasses and they do work.
So are we in the infancy as far as AR glasses are concerned at the moment?
Without a doubt. The concern that always happens is, do people become distracted by them? Say you're driving along somewhere and you've got the glasses on and a phone call comes in, rather than appearing on the dashboard somewhere, it appears in your glasses. Will that distract somebody more than appearing on the dashboard will do?
But if a person under normal circumstances driving has to have glasses, optical glasses, if you've got AR glasses on and they're not optical glasses, well, you're not going to be able to see the road ahead.
They could, like I said, they could put the actual prescription lenses into those glasses and make them work.
But you'd have to update the actual lens in that particular set of glasses every time you went to a test to get your eyes tested.
If they need to be changed, yes.
So they're not intelligent enough, AI intelligent enough yet to be able to update itself and correct the vision in accordance with your particular eye health.
So I'm not an optometrist, but from what I understand, the way the glasses work and if they get changed, actually change the curvature of the glass. And because glass is a solid object, you can't then have a computer get there and bend it enough to make it work.
Okay. Are they available in Australia now?
They are.
They are.
They
And are
are
they
available.
exorbitant in price?
They're not cheap, but for people who want to try and be on the cutting edge of things, people are buying them already. It's like the Apple Vision that Apple released 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There was their headset. Some people bought it. Most people got there and laughed and ignored it. They are expensive, but for those people who want the latest and greatest, they will go out and buy them.
Okay, I'll stick with the ones I'm wearing. They won't cost me a fortune. All right, I hope that answers the question we're asked. What about the electric car, electric whatever, EV chargers, smart meters, and the connected home? Tell me about it.
So smart meters are the big thing happening all over the place, and I believe in Victoria now they're saying you have to accept having a smart meter attached to your house, whether you like it or not, which in theory means that they say electricity bill should come down because it tracks what you're using more so than a normal meter. In the experience that I've faced with other people who've had them put in there, they end up having their power bills go up slightly because you're using the power.
Join me. I'm in Victoria, and that's what's happened.
You end up using the power when they charge the most for it, because that's when you're at home. It's like right now I've got electricity being used for air conditioners because it is so hot here, but it's the same electricity price now, middle of the day, as it is overnight. No difference at all for me for price. Whereas for you, you'd be paying an arm and a leg because it's right now the expensive part of the day.
Yep.
So they have benefits for you in theory if you organise your use of electricity to match when it's cheaper, because you'll put on the washing machine when it's going to be cheaper. You'll put on the dryer when it's going to be cheaper. That's great. If you can work night shift and that way you're using electricity when you're supposed to be cheap, that's okay. But if you've got a real life, you're at home, you're going to pay a lot more for power. So for me, I'm not a big fan of smart meters. It also means that you can have the power company shut you off without a second notice because they control it. At the end of the day, they can see you, they know what you're using, they can turn you off.
Okay.
When it comes to EV chargers,
EV chargers, yeah.
So EV chargers come down to needing to have more power than most power points. You can get different EV chargers. You get ones that just plug in, and they just use usually a couple of watts and amps, just enough that a normal power point will do. They take hours upon days to charge a car up. What you need to get, and this is the important bit, is you need to get your home electricity upgraded from usually it's 2-phase to 3-phase electricity. And you've got to have an actual proper solid line put into your garage or where you're going to have the charger, and then have a proper EV charger in there. That does cost a lot, but it then means you can charge your car or your device, whatever it is, much, much faster than you can with a normal thing, with a normal PowerPoint charger. So,
go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say, so it's a case of, yes, EV chargers can come in handy, but you'll get the right one, otherwise you'll be sitting there for days waiting for your car to charge up again.
You're a nerd. Would you consider buying an electric car? Not hybrid, fully electric.
No. I've been contemplating looking at the hybrids purely because the fact that I want the convenience to drive wherever I want and be able to get petrol to fill the car up. I can go thousands of kilometres and not worry about having to plug the damn car in. So for me, at this point in time, I don't think, and looking at all of the road tests and the results of battery lives, I would not be looking at an EV car because I travel too far. And even if I'm not travelling too far right now, the possibility of me going for a drive one day to Canberra and back, the battery's not going to last there. I'm going to spend an hour sitting somewhere waiting for a battery to charge up when I can just fill it with petrol in 5 minutes.
So when we eventually don't have lithium batteries, but batteries that'll take you 2,000 kilometres, then you might consider it.
And the charging system allows it to charge quickly, yes. It comes down to, it's not just the battery capacity, it's the charge speed. That's what people seem to forget, is people always look at, the batteries can last 2,000 kilometres. It can, but it takes 8 hours to charge that battery to that level.
Yeah.
And you want to try to make sure the battery will charge from at least 20% to 80% in about 3 minutes. Otherwise, fill the car up. You're not going to sit around having a cup of tea, a donut, a biscuit, a pizza, and still wait for the car to charge up.
Okay. The most luxurious, purportedly, car company in the world has just released its first fully electric, not hybrid, but fully electric car. And it's very, very cheap because you won't have to put petrol in it anymore. If you want to buy one, it's $1.2 million, and it's come from Rolls-Royce. It's not something I'll be putting in my Christmas tree.
I was going to say, it'd be fun. It might be cheap to not get petrol, but with your smart meter, you want to unplug it at about 3 in the afternoon, plug it back in around about midnight and let it charge up then.
Yeah. Well, look, next weekend is the last weekend before Christmas Day. So why don't we, and hopefully people will send us some requests about what you'd like us to talk about. Why don't we make it totally Christmas in some shape or form?
We'll make a Christmassy show. We'll get there and talk about how you can track Santa, how you can talk to Santa, but also maybe after Christmas sales are coming up again.
Boxing Day sales.
I'm not going to say anything more than that. What cheap buckets can be found again, trying to save some more money after you spend it all for Christmas food, Christmas presents, and the Christmas family.
Well, I want to thank the Australian for allowing me to read that article online. I hope no one's offended by it. And thank you, as always, for your knowledge on all things electrical. I won't buy a new phone. I won't buy the glasses, and I certainly won't buy a Rolls-Royce. Have a good day, Matthew.
But do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And, hey, comment down there. Let us know what you want us to talk about, whether it be Christmas-related or anything at all.
Yeah, and you can see from Matthew, he can answer any question that has to do with technology because the only smart device in his entire house is a light bulb.
It turns it up there. See you, Gareth.
Goodbye.